I have seen a advanced screening of Out of Darkness recently, and I really, I liked the movie. It was a good story. What is Out of Darkness about? Well, it's a basically if you're into movies that have to do with prehistoric times, like cave people, like early man, that kind of thing, you would appreciate this movie. They label it a horror movie. I like to look at it more as a prehistoric suspense film. They call it prehistoric horror. I'm like, yeah, I guess you can say horror, and especially from the viewpoint of the characters, and that kind of makes sense. Now, what's this story about? Well, it's about this takes place like 43,000 years ago, like the Stone Age, right? And there's a small group, not necessarily family related, though a couple are, um, of people that have migrated from one land to another, which, according to history, that was a thing that's been going on. Early man at that point was the migration throughout the earth at that point to different parts of the earth was happening. So this kind of focuses on this small particular group entering this particular area, and I believe it was somewhere up north because there's one scene where you can see the northern lights in the sky, the aurora borealis. So I said, oh, they must be up really high, like north. Not sure where though. And something is following them, supposedly. Okay, and they're starting to, and you see all of this in the preview. It's like one by one they're being picked off by this thing or some things, we're not sure. And so it becomes a horror survivalist kind of scenario where these people don't have anything, right? They don't have a home, they don't have supplies, they don't have food even. They're starving. And they got weapons and they're trying to use that to try to fend off or try to like find out what's going on here with this whatever it is that's following them and going after them. And what I liked about this movie was how they try to handle it. Now, the leader of the group, admittingly, turns out to be a bit of a douche, but in spite of that, you still see the collaboration that they all try to do. Now, having said that, like I said, the leader of the group happens to be a douche, but another member of the group, this young girl, I kind of liked her development as a character in this movie because you kind of see her start very young and naive, and and there's still, it's not like time passed. It doesn't. She grows from being, in her mind at least, from being this little girl into a woman. Let's just say it like that. And you kind of see how she has to like step up and try to do whatever it takes to help them survive this thing that's going on. There are mysteries. There are questions to be, answered. They come across, for instance, the remains of a woolly mammoth, and they knew that it just didn't die naturally. They knew that it was killed by something, and it's probably that same something that's following them. Okay, and that's what made it cool, especially when it got dark. It's one thing to go through this during the daytime, but at night, which the night shots were just amazing because it felt like they were in the dark. It's not like it was a well lit environment. It was dark. It was dark. Like they knew how to make a fire to keep themselves warm and at least be illuminated at night to a certain extent. But boy, for the most part, they were in the dead dark, and I really liked the lighting from this. This movie was by Bleecker Street Films, the same, funny enough, the same company that ditched out ISS, the last movie I reviewed. So it had a different kind of feel to it. It was, it's all subtitles because they're speaking in, there's no English. It's 43,000 years ago. So they're speaking in whatever language it was. I don't know what language existed 43,000 years ago, but they were talking in something. and you had to kind of like follow what they were saying with the subtitles, which I didn't find to be much of an issue because I have no problem with subtitles anyway. It wasn't the greatest movie in the world. Again, we're in January. These are kind of like warm me up kind of movies, and this was another one. It wasn't that long. It was once again like an hour and a half, pretty much. But it was still a good movie. If you're into movies that have to do with has a survivalist tone to it, and if you also like movies that have to do with primitive man going back, back to the early days of the Stone Age and Neanderthal man and early, modern man, whatever. Watch this movie. There's a twist in this film that I really appreciated, and I think and maybe I'm digging too deep here, but I think the title, Out of Darkness, lends a lot to it in regards to the mind of early humanity, and how we have to learn how to just trust each other more and not conclude that everybody's out to get you. I'm going to give Out of Darkness 3 coffee cups. It's a good story. I don't think I would necessarily buy it or something like that. If it comes out, when it comes out on digital, on a streaming service, I'll probably see it again, maybe one or two more times or whatever, because it was a good watch. I was very pulled into the plot of the story, and to see where it went. So I would recommend it. Okay, so when you guys go see it, when it comes out, come back, let me know, talk to me, let me know what you think. All right, and I appreciate all of you who have subscribed so far. Listen, I'm over 750 subscribers after all these years. My goal is 1,000. Hopefully by the end of this year. Imagine that. Oh my goodness! If I could do that, that would be great. We're gonna celebrate right here on the channel. So let's see what happens. All right. If you like what you see here, if you're new here, please consider subscribing and tap on that bell for future notifications for future Horror and Coffee content. Until next time, take care of yourself. Ralph Perez, Horror and Coffee. Later.